Our main objective is at the end of this lecture, at least the student must be able to understand the spinal radioanatomy, okay, and then discuss the different imaging modalities of the spine, know the indications of the different imaging modalities of the spine. Okay, so that is our main objective. If you are going to go back, no, at the cranial imaging modalities, no, when I lectured with you the different imaging, no, looking at the skull, the sinuses, okay, the orbits, no, we were able to take note that the cranial imaging modalities, no, will be consisting of the number one, the initial will be the plain radiography. Okay, so the plain radiography, and then of course you have also your ultrasound. But I told you that ultrasound is not that very very diagnostic. No, if you are going to look at the skull because of the bony, the bony structure, that the wavelength of ultrasound could not be transmitted. Okay, and then of course you have your computed tomography scan, okay, plus the magnetic resonance imaging, and then you have also this angiography added, no, added to the imaging modalities. But if you're going to look back and recall, no, the plain radiography, no, is not that sensitive, no, it's not very sensitive in other nervous, no, or other cranial problem, no. Like for example, the patient has Alzheimer's disease, no. You cannot see the appearance of the brain, no, if a patient has Alzheimer's, no, in brain radiography. Okay, because the manifestation is the accumulation of that substance, no, that make the patient has dementia. Okay, so ultrasound is not as well very diagnostic. Now you know already that if it is no uh, the choice of imaging modalities will be depending on which part of the head will be examined. Okay, you know already that if it is referring to the bony, the bony structure, then the most sensitive is the CT scan, no, computed tomography scan. And then if it is soft tissue, like the brain parenchyma, okay, then magnetic resonance is very significant. And then if there are some problem with the vessels, no, you want to see if there are some bleeding, okay, arising from the different blood supply of the brain, okay, then your choice is angiography. Okay, so let's now proceed to the spine imaging and um, how is the imaging modalities in comparison, no, in comparison to the cranial or the cranial imaging modalities. Okay, so let's first discuss the anatomy. We know already that there are 33 vertebrae, okay, and these 33 vertebrae articulate with each other, okay, both anteriorly and posteriorly, okay, wherein the articulation is called intervertebral joint, okay. And always remember that how many segments do we have? No, how many segments does the vertebral column have? No, there are seven cervical vertebra. Okay, there are 12 thoracic vertebra, five lumbar, five sacral. Okay, and then four coccygeal. No, now remember that the bones of the sacrum and the coccyx fused together. Okay, so do not forget that they fuse together. And take note that in between, no, in between or inside of your vertebral canal, you will find the spinal cord. Okay, so I think I mentioned already, at birth, where can you find the spinal cord, no? Or if it is at the fetal stage, where can you find the spinal cord? If it is at birth, where, and which is adult, where can you find, at what level can you find the spinal cord? Okay, so looking at the imaging modalities of the spine or the vertebra, okay, so you have here the cervical X-ray, or I mean X-ray of the vertebra, is X-ray of the vertebra, and then CT scan, MRI, and of course added is the bone scan, or what we call, no, that is very important in nuclear medicine. So that is bone scan. Now, the bone scan class is very significant, specifically, okay, like for example, no, I'm always telling you that in cases, no, when the patient, let's say for example, the patient was admitted, no, the patient is a stage 4 breast cancer. Okay? So stage 4 breast cancer. So the first thing that you are going to do, class, is how will you know that if there will be some bone metastasis, no? Remember that the first organ of metastasis, if you are referring to cancer, no, cancer of the breast, are your axillary lymph nodes, okay? So your axillary lymph nodes are the first organ of metastasis if it is a breast cancer problem, no? But okay, if you already schedule your patient, let's say for example for a modified radical mastectomy, no, because it is maybe stage 2 or stage 3. Okay, so your surgery procedure or surgical procedure, okay, that you are going to submit for your operation is modified radical mastectomy. Now, remember, class, that if you are going to do modified radical mastectomy, no, you cannot just schedule modified radical mastectomy without knowing if there are metastases to the bones. Okay, so, if it is a case of cancer patient, like for example, as I am telling you, the breast cancer stage 3 or stage 2, no, if you're going to schedule your modified or your mastectomy, you need to know if there are already metastases in the bone. Okay, so you are going to request whole day CT scan or whole bone scan of your patient before your patient will be scheduled for mastectomy. So that is very important, class. Now, if you find out that your patient who already has bone metastasis, then you do not need to do modified radical mastectomy because it will be it is already a stage 4 case, class, no? Basta nagkameron na ng metastasis outside of the primary site. No, ang primary site natin ay breast. Okay? So, if, and specifically, if the breast cancer is secondary, like for example, the patient had cancer of the lungs or bronchogenic carcinoma. Okay? So, the case while the patient has cancer of the breast is it is a metastasis, no? It is a metastasis arising from the primary, which is the cancer of the lungs. Okay? But if it is the breast, which is the primary, okay, source of the malignancy, then it is the breast who will be spreading and metastasizing to other organs. Okay? So, if your patient you are scheduling for mastectomy has metastasis to the bone, then you cannot do, or you don't need to do mastectomy because that is already a stage for a case of malignancy. Okay, and whether you do mastectomy or whether you do some other procedure, okay, not unless there is let's say necrotic wound, okay, necrotic wound that you need to do some mastectomy, no? But for the sake of management and your patient has already metastasis to the bone, then no need to do mastectomy because that patient already has stage 4. So that is where you are going to use your bone scan. Okay. So, what are the indications for the use of imaging modalities in the spine and the pelvis? Okay. So, let's take, for example, no, radiography. No, you have a patient, trauma patient, no, you have a trauma patient, a vehicular accident, no. So, what will be your initial, no, what will be your initial or maximum request, okay, for your patient who is a trauma patient, no, involving the spine or the pelvis? So if it is the first um, or initial, no, imaging procedure that you are going to request is the uh, radiography of the cervical spine, and that is in the lateral view. Okay, so you have your lateral view and your AP view as your minimum request. Okay, specifically in patient, no, uh, imaging modalities, okay, specifically in trauma case patient. Okay, so you are going to request lateral view and the AP view. And then if you are if you see, no, if you look at the or you evaluate the radiography of your patient and you cannot see, no, you cannot see the fracture or you cannot see any fracture, but you are suspecting that the patient has a fracture. So since you are referring to the bony structure, then the next imaging procedure that you are going to request is the computed tomography scan, and that is to confirm whether there are fractures. Okay, I already showed that to you last time, no, when we discussed the cranium or the cranial radioanatomy. Okay, if you cannot pinpoint, no, or confirm whether fractures are present in the skull, then you can request this computed tomography scan. Okay, now if it is a trauma setting and the patient's problem, you are referring maybe the patient might be having some injury to the brain or soft tissue injury or the bone marrow, no? Like when you are suspecting a tumor or infection to the bone marrow, okay, then you are going to request magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, other cases where you are going to request for um, magnetic resonance is if there are some problem with the spinal cord and spinal or vertebral disc, no? And then of course you need always to remember that vertebral fracture is always associated with a suspected spinal cord injury. Okay? And then still if you are in dilemma, no, and the patient has some vertebral disease, no, and spinal stenosis, then the request of myelogram should be added to your imaging modalities or imaging procedure. Okay? So again, what are the two maximum radiographic request that you are going to request? Okay, in patient with vertebra or spine and pelvis injury, okay, secondary to trauma, then as I said, it is lateral and your AP view. Okay, so that is how are you going to look at the imaging modalities of the spine and the pelvis. Okay, so you are here looking at a picture. What do you think is this? Is this a CT scan or an MRI? Hmm? What do you think is
MRI po.
okay? So this is an MRI, okay? Because I want you always to remember that if it is a CT scan, the bony picture is white in color. No, they are very prominent. Okay, if the uh, structure that is very prominent and could be identified, okay, in the film is the magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, so if you're going to look, no, at the picture, you could easily see which one is the skin, which one is the muscle, okay, which one is your spinal canal. Okay, they could even also identify the intervertebral disc. Okay, so this one is um, transverse, no, or eggshell view of the film. Okay, so let's take note of the different views of the vertebral column. So in this picture here, you're looking at the anterior view. This one is the lateral, and this is you are looking at the posterior view of the vertebral column. Okay, so what are the parts of the typical vertebra? Okay, so if you are referring to the typical vertebra class, no, in general, no, take note that typical vertebra should have a body, should have a pedicle, should have a lamina, and then spinous process, presence of transverse process, superior and inferior articular facets, okay? And then you have this, no? Let me see this one, that is your vertebral foramina, okay? So all of this must be present for you to identify, no, that a vertebra is typical. If all of this will be present, okay? Okay, so let's now proceed to the cervical region. So we're going to discuss them by segment. The first one is the cervical region, and then we have the thoracic, lumbar, okay, and the sacrum and the coccyx. Now, the it is only the cervical region, okay, where the discussion is long, okay. Otherwise, the other segments, okay, in this discussion, okay, is not that much, okay. So if you are going to look at the cervical region, okay, take note that how are you going to see and look at the imaging procedure? Let's say, for example, no, you're looking at the radiography of the cervical region. So we said that the first initial request that you are going to do is the lateral view and the AP view. Okay. So what is very significant if it is a cervical vertebra? You will see the presence of pure foramen transversum, no? So this structure here is your foramen transversum. Okay? So it is where your vertebral artery enters, no? At the upper sixth part of your cervical vertebra. And then it will be transmitted and pass to your foramen magnum. Okay, so take note if it is cervical vertebra, okay, then the very significant structure that you need to look at is the presence of the foramen transversum or transversarium. Okay, so before we proceed, please take a look at the appearance of the cervical vertebra, okay, the thoracic and the lumbar. I'm assuming that at this point you know already how to differentiate, no, the appearance of the uh, a different vertebral segment, okay, by just looking at the presence of the body, okay, you could already see what is that or what type of vertebra is that and which segment does vertebra belong. Okay, so by just looking at the body, no, you will already know whether it's a thoracic or lumbar vertebra. Okay, okay. So we said that the initial no procedure to request for cervical spine radiography, okay, or cervical spine is the lateral radiography. Okay, so lateral radiography. And if you're going to look at the normal appearance or the normal shape or the normal cervical curve of a cervical spine, we can say that it is slightly lordotic. Okay, so the presence of a mildly lordotic and a mildly convex anterior cervical spine is normal. Okay, so you are going to consider it normal. Okay, so that is cervical vertebra. Again, what is the imaging modality? Okay, to be noted, you need to take note that the first and the initial, okay, cervical spine imaging procedure that you are going to request is the lateral radiography. Okay, so what do you see, no, in a lateral cervical view, okay, of the cervical vertebra? Okay, so aside from the presence of your seven cervical vertebra. The seven cervical vertebra must be seen, no, in the lateral view of the cervical spine. Okay, And then you can see even you can see even clearly, okay, the articulation between your cervical 7 and your T1. Okay, can you see? So the articulation between your C7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the articulation. Okay, so that is your C7 and T1 articulation. Okay, so what is important, okay, in your lateral view, okay, of your cervical vertebra is of course to identify the alignment, okay, the alignment of cervical vertebra. Okay, so you need to draw a line, okay, you are going to do this, okay. So this orange or red line here, okay, indicates your anterior vertebral line. Can you see that? So that is your anterior vertebral line. And then the brown line indicates the posterior vertebral line. Okay. Oh my God, it moved. And then the green is spino, laminar line. And then you have your blue, which is your posterior spinous line. Okay, so if you're going to look at the picture, no, yung nasa pinakamababa, okay, your posterior spinous line is the least reliable. Okay? And the most reliable is your anterior vertebral line. This line must be straight, class. Okay? So that indicates your anterior vertebral line. Again, so the most reliable is the anterior, and the least reliable is your posterior spinous line. Okay, tandaan na, ibinibigay ko sa practical yan, class. Ha? Okay, checklist, okay, for spinal radiograph observation. So I told you that if you are looking at the lateral radiography, okay, of the cervical spine, okay, so what are you going to look first, no? So if you're going to look at it, okay, as I said, you need to look for the presence of your seven cervical vertebra. But take note that before looking at the seven cervical vertebra, no, all the seven cervical vertebrae should be visualized. Okay, take note of the cervical alignment. Okay? So yung cervical alignment na yun, yung apat na lines that I showed you a while ago. Okay, so it is very important for you to take note of the first three lines, the anterior, the posterior, and the spino-laminar line. Okay? Yan, three lines in the cervical spine. And then measure, no? Take note of the heights of the vertebra. No? Are they symmetrical? Okay, how about the space or the space height? Okay, the presence of the density or osseous density, and then the presence of facet joints and pars interarticularis. Okay, so these are the checklists that you need to evaluate. Okay, when you are going to evaluate the spinal radiograph, okay, lateral view. So this all of this must be assessed. Okay. Now let's move to the next. Okay, so we said that after you request your lateral, okay, what is the next? AP view. Okay. So your AP view, okay, will demonstrate your C3 to C7 vertebral bodies. Okay, can you see? So C1, C2, this is your C3. C4, C5, C6, C7 nasa baba. Okay? So you are going also to take note of the spinous processes. Nasaan ang spinous processes? Itong white structures na ito, class, can you see the one I'm pointing? Okay, these are your spinous processes. And remember that if it is a very good cervical spine AP view, your I mean your spinous process should be at the middle, okay? Or it must be at the center of your uh, radiographic film. And then, of course, take note of the lateral masses, okay? And then take note of this black, okay, black shadow here, okay? It must also be centered, although I did not put here in the text, no? Because this one indicates the presence of your trachea, Okay? So always remember that the black shadow here indicates the presence of the trachea because you know the trachea contains air. So the color of your trachea is black. So kung nasaan yung trachea class, dapat yung spinous process ay nasa gitna. So yung mga puti-puting yan class are your spinous processes. And then of course, the other structures are your lateral muscles. Okay, so when you're evaluating your AP radiography, okay, of the cervical spine, okay, what are the um, list? Okay, what are in the list that you need to observe? Okay, AP radiography. Alignment, vertebral body height, this is face height, bone density, the presence of your pedicles, specifically the lower cervical spine, the thoracic and the lumbar spine, and again, the facet joints. Okay? So these are the checklist, or this is the checklist that you need to take note, okay, to evaluate your spinal radiography AP view. Okay, so I have here a cervical spine AP radiograph which is said to be normal. Okay? So kapag ganito ang itsura, nandun sa gitna yung spinous process, okay? And then you can see the presence of the black here, black shadow, indicating that the trachea is at the center. And then, of course, the lateral masses are very obvious. Okay? So this is a case of a normal AP radiography. Okay, so again, these are the showing you the AP view of the cervical spine, wherein you can see that the first and the second, no, the first and the second, okay, are obscured in this projection because of the mandible, okay, and the basi occiput. Okay, but you can identify the lower cervical vertebra and the cervicothoracic. Okay, junction are also very clear. Okay, you can see the lateral masses, they appear as smooth, and then the spinous processes are in the midline. Okay, so if the picture is like this, then we can say that the AP view is a very good film. Okay, it's a very good film. Okay, so you can see also the interspinous distances. It must be the distance between one interspinous to another must be symmetrical, or it should be around 1.5 times distance above or below the level. No, if the interspinous are symmetrical, then it is a good film. But if the interspinous distance is around 1.5 times distance above or below, then it is showing you a dislocation or subluxation of the cervical spine. So kung titingnan mo class, yung distance among your vertebral spine should be symmetrical. Okay? Now, if you cannot see anything, let's say for example, no, um, you evaluated already the AP view, okay, you evaluated first the lateral view, but still you cannot determine, no, may fracture ba talaga itong, or any problem, okay, with your AP and lateral view, then you can add oblique view of the cervical spine. Okay? So pagka nakakita ka ng ganitong view na medyo bakit nag-iba, no? Hindi siya kagaya ng AP and lateral, okay? Then that is a film which is your oblique view of the cervical spine. Okay, so what can you see, no? What if you are looking at the radiography of the oblique view of the cervical spine, no? So the first thing that you are going to observe in an oblique view is your intervertebral foramina. Yung may arrow na blue, okay? So all of this with opening, okay, black in color, no, is your intervertebral foramina. So the intervertebral foramina are very prominent in an oblique view of the cervical spine. Then you can also see the neural foramina, no? You can also the pedicles, the articular masses, okay, your apophyseal joints. Okay, you can see also your apophyseal joints. And then take note of the relative relationship, no, at the lamina of the cervical spine. Okay, so this is what you need to see in a patient, no, oblique view of the cervical spine. Okay, so there are some modified view that you need to know, no, that is the swimmer's view. So if you're going to look at the swimmer's view class, actually your swimmer's view is a cervical spine lateral, no? It is a modification of your lateral view of the cervical spine. Now the only difference is, take a look, no? You're going to position your the patient with the left arm, okay, that is abducted upward along the side of the head, no? So the other the hand or the extremity must be above the head, okay? Yung left, no? Yung left, no? If you're looking at the picture, or it is the left, no, upper extremity, which is abducted upward above the head. And then the position makes patients appear as if they are swimming, doing a backstroke style. Okay? And then the central X-ray beam is directed to between your C7 and your T1 level from the patient's side, on which the arm is lowered, usually the right. Okay? So, ganun ang swimmer's view. Yung left, nakataas, and then yung naka-lateral view ang patient, and then yung right ay nakababa. Okay? So, saan ilalagay ang beam? Okay, doon sa cervical 7 and your T1 junction, okay, along the side of the patient, doon sa right side, doon sa area ng kamay na nakababa. Okay? So, that is your swimmer's view. Okay, so these are some of the other pictures, okay, for you to identify. Okay, lateral view, you can see the odontoid, no, that is the odontoid. So this is the arch, posterior arch of the atlas, anterior arch of the atlas. You can see the hyoid, and then this is your thyroid cartilage or the Adam's apple. Okay, so please take note. Now, soft tissues, okay, what are some of the very important things that you need to take note, okay? You're looking on the left lateral view, okay? Take note of the atlantoaxial joint space, no? So the space between your atlas and your axial should be 3 millimeters, okay? So you're going to measure it, no? The distance between the atlas and your axial, okay, bone, which will be 3 millimeters. And that is considered normal. Okay, number 2, okay, meron namang label, number 2, normal retropharyngeal space. So yan yung normal retropharyngeal space, yung may white line. Okay, it should not be more than 8 millimeters, no? So kapag not more than 8 millimeters, kunyari naging 10 na siya, it means that the retropharyngeal space is not normal anymore. So the normal is 8 millimeters. Okay, yung number 3, no, yung may line na yan. Okay, so that is your uh, retrotracheal space, no? So this is normal if the measurement is not more than 22 millimeters in adult and not more than 14 millimeters in children, then your retrotracheal space is normal. Okay? So the dots line denote the anterior, okay? Ito yung anterior vertebral lines, yung nasa harap. And then this is your posterior vertebral line. So if you're going to look, no, mukhang straight naman ang ating anterior at saka yung posterior vertebral line. Okay? So if the picture is like this, then you have a very good radiographic film. Okay, so what are some of the other modification of your radiographic film? So you have here an open mouth or the odontoid view. Okay? So this is an odontoid or the, kapag ganitong x-ray class, no, this is an odontoid. Yun ang odontoid, no? Kitang-kita. Oh, so this is the mouth of the patient. So, the cervical spine AP, no, actually, yung odontoid or the open mouth radiography class is a modified AP view, okay, of your patient. Okay, so if you see this kind of radiographic film showing the odontoid or the open mouth radiography of your patient, then that is considered normal. So you can identify the tooth, you can identify the odontoid plus C1, C2, and take note of the five biped spinous process of your cervical spine. Then you can see your mandible teeth also. Okay? So this odontoid or mouth, open mouth radiography is normal. Okay, so other imaging modalities of the cervical spine. Okay, so you're looking at the computed tomography. Anong sabi natin kanina, class, no? Kapag CT scan, very prominent, kulay white ang bones, ang bone structure. Okay? So yung bone structure is very prominent, kulay puti siya, class. Okay? And then it easily show your different structure that you see of the cervical spine. So you can see your foramen transversarium. Ayan, may arrow. Transverse process, pedicle, lamina, spinous process. Okay? And then doon sa kabila naman, okay, you can see and identify the neural foramen. Okay? So this is the CT scan, okay, CT scan of the cervical spine. Okay, so another picture of the CT scan of the cervical spine. Okay, so you could identify all the bony structures, class, no? Odontoid, lateral mass, atlanto-axial joint, the cervical, okay, C2 hanggang C5. Okay, doon naman sa kabila, so this is your lateral reconstruction. Class, kapag reconstruction, no, medyo baka mapagkamalan ninyo na kapag ganitong itsura niya is it is MRI, no? Still, this is computed tomography scan, kaya nga lang reconstructed. Okay? So pagka sinabi natin reconstruction, maybe they yung dose, okay, yung dose is either they increase or they decrease. Okay, kaya ang tawag reconstructed. Okay? So another one, okay, cervical spine. Okay, so can you see? Okay, here, this one is the post-myelogram computed tomography scan. Okay, so kitang-kita yung contrast, okay, filled with your, in the thecal sac, no? So yung contrast already reached the thecal sac. Spinal cord, yung nasa gitna, okay, lateral masses, odontoid, and then here you can see the, kitang-kita yung nerve root, oh, no? Yan, nerve root. So that is your foramen transversorium. Okay, thecal space, yung paligid. And you have your spinal cord at the center. Okay, magnetic resonance of the cervical spine. Okay, so numbered item siya, class, no? Pakitingnan na lang, no? Yung spinal cord mo is yung number 1. Number 2, subarachnoid space. 3, body of the second vertebral, body of the axis. Okay, and so forth. Okay, so kindly, number 8 is your medulla oblongata. Okay, so yan ang medulla oblongata. This is your number 3. Okay, number 4. Okay, number 5. Okay. So kindly just look, no, at the different numbered items that you will see in the magnetic resonance of the cervical spine. So dito, class, baka magkamali kayo, no? Kasi ang sabi natin kanina, anong kulay kapag CT scan? Kulay puti, no? Kaya nga lang, class, hindi ganito ang itsura kapag CT scan o on the lateral view, no? And it is very obvious that you can see the soft tissue, and that is your spinal cord. Okay, so let's now discuss the different types of fractures of the cervical vertebra. Now, when you are going to take note of the different types of your cervical vertebra, no, the first thing that you are going to assess is the stability. Okay, is the stability of the fracture. Stable ba or unstable ang fracture? Okay, so what are the two very important parameters, okay, that make the cervical spine stable, okay, normally, no? So normally, stable ang ating cervical vertebra or ating cervical spine because of the two functional vertebral columns. So ano ba yung dalawang vertebral columns making our cervical spine stable? Okay, so we have the anterior column. Pagka sinabi nating anterior column, it will include the vertebral body, okay, the disc spaces, anterior and posterior, okay, ligaments, okay, longitudinal ligaments, and then of course, the other, no, other functional vertical column is the posterior column. So what includes your posterior column? The pedicle, the facet, apophyseal joints, laminar spinous processes in the anterior, or I mean the posterior ligament complex. Okay? So if your anterior and your posterior column, oh, are in place, okay, it includes all of the different structures, okay, that includes it, then you can say that the column or I mean the cervical spine is stable. Okay, now, kailan siya stable, no? As long as one column is intact, okay, the injury is still stable. Okay, putol. Okay? So, yan ang advantage ng hindi naka total this na you can check immediately. Okay? So, kailangan stable pa rin, no? Uh, even one column is the only one present. Okay, it is not normally dapat anterior and posterior kasi in normal condition. But in cases when the patient has fracture, but one of the column is intact, the entire, no, the entire parts of the or the entire component of this column, whether anterior and posterior column, as long as this parts are complete, then we can say the column or we can say the fracture or the injury is stable. Okay? So kailangang yung lahat ng part ng anterior column walang fracture and your posterior column dapat walang fracture. Okay? So that is how are you going to take note, okay, and assess, no, the stability of the cervical spine. Okay, so let's proceed to the first type of fracture. Okay? Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, medyo mahaba ang discussion sa cervical spine because of the presence of the different types of fracture. Okay, so ano yung Jefferson's fracture? Okay, so makikita mo dito, class, no? There is a fracture of your C1 ring. Kita niyo yung fracture, yan, the one I'm pointing. So this is secondary to the compression fracture of your cervical one ring. And this is the most common type of fracture of the neck or the cervical spine. Okay? So that is a C1 fracture. So this fracture class is unstable. Okay? Kasi yung anterior at saka posterior parehong may fracture. Can you see that, class? No? Kaya siya ay unstable. Commonly see increase in peridental space on lateral if transverse ligament is damaged and displacement of C1 lateral masses on the odontoid. Okay? So, you are going to obtain and request for CT scan, no, of this type of fracture if you are contemplating a Jefferson fracture. Again, this fracture is unstable. Anong sabi natin? Bakit unstable? If not all, no? Let's say if one or two, your anterior and posterior column are affected, okay? Or if a part, okay, that belongs to any column, okay, is fractured, then the fracture will be unstable. Okay? So this is your Jefferson fracture, consists of two fractures. Okay, this is the first fracture, and then this is your second fracture. So parehong anterior and posterior columns are affected. So that's why this is an unstable type of fracture. So ang importante class, no? When you're studying, the important thing that you need to take note is what cervical vertebra is affected. Okay? And whether it is stable or unstable. Okay? Next, so this is your burst fracture. Can you see the fracture class? Ayun, no? So yung may compression of the vertebral body and results in loss of the both anterior and posterior vertebral body height. Okay? So parehong affected. So usually the most common fracture is arising from C3 to C7. Okay? And it is usually due to the axial loading. So usually, no, the burst fracture will involve, okay, spinal cord injury. Okay, specifically secondary to the posterior displacement of the fragment. Kasi yung kasing fragment nag ano siya nagdi-display siya going to the posterior side. Okay, so this type of fracture is stable, okay, because the ligaments are still intact. And the most common site involved is the mid-cervical vertebra. Okay, so we know already that the main cause of the burst fracture is a fracture of your C3, C4, C5, C6, and your C7. Okay, so that is your burst fracture. Okay, next fracture. Nakikita nyo na yung fracture class, no? You know, no? So that is your fracture. Okay, so this fracture is what we call the clay shovelers. Okay, yung may arrow na red ang fracture. So this is what we call the clay shovelers fracture. And take note that the main cause of this injury is severe secondary to flexion injury. Okay? So masyadong na-flex ang neck. So severe flexion will cause avulsion of a piece of a spinous process and most frequently occurs in the lower cervical spine. So the clay shovelers is um, easily be identifiable, no? If the request is on the lateral view, okay? So lateral view, okay, of your cervical spine. And the usual fracture occurs at C7, okay, C6, and T1. Okay? So this fracture, since it's only affect, no, the other side, then this fracture is stable. Okay? So clay shovelers fracture. Okay, so next fracture. Okay, so that is your flexion, no? Kita nyo, ayun, no? So this is your flexion, no? Flexion teardrop fracture. Ayun ang fracture. Okay, so this is also secondary to flexion injury causing a fracture of the anterior portion of the vertebral body. So this type of fracture class is unstable because it is associated with injury to the ligaments. Okay, so your anterior and posterior ligaments are affected. So that's why this type of injury is unstable. Okay, so can you see? Kitang-kita, no? Yan, kitang-kita ang fracture. Okay, so this is what we call the bilateral facet dislocation. Okay, bilateral facet dislocation. So this is also secondary to flexion injury. And this will be showing a manifestation of a dislocated and a subluxated vertebra. Okay, specifically if more than one half the epidiameter of the vertebral body is below. Can you see? So more than half, no? So more than half of the body below, okay, is dislocated. Okay, so in this bilateral facet dislocation, it always shows some high incidence of spinal cord injury. And since it involved the anterior and posterior ligament injury, okay, or the posterior column, no, are affected, anterior and posterior columns are affected, then bilateral facet dislocation is extremely unstable. Okay? So this type of dislocation is extremely disable. Okay? So can you see now? Okay, where is the problem? Okay, so next time is your hangman's fracture. Okay? So ito yung makikita natin, class, bakit hangman's fracture, no? Yung mga nagbibigti, no? If you have a patient whose cause of death is hanging, no? Yung mga naghang. So what will be injured? So this is an extension type injury, di ba? Kapag kasi hanging, no, andun yung lubid sa leeg or anything, and then yun namang baba, ipupul ng gravity. Okay, so maghihilahan silang dalawa. Okay, so maghihilahan yung uh, pull from the lubid, okay, and then a pull coming from downward, which is the pull of the gravity. So this is an extension injury class, no? And take note that if you're going to look at the picture, there are bilateral fractures of your C2 pedicles, yung white arrow. Okay? So that is your pedicles, yung white arrow, C2, your C2. And then there is an anterior dislocation of C2 vertebral body, secondary to anterior ligament line tear. Okay? So meron siyang tear, yung red arrow. Okay? So this type of fracture is unstable. Okay, next. Kita nyo na yung fracture kung nasaan. Okay, so this is your soft tissue swelling. So kapag may ganito, class, no, nakakita kang ganitong film, no, hindi naman ganyan kasi ang normal. So this is a soft tissue swelling. Okay, so you can see the soft tissue swelling like this, no? Okay. Okay, so fractures, okay, odontoid fracture. So the odontoid fractures will be depending on the mechanism of injury. Okay, your odontoid fracture is generally unstable. Okay, type 1 fracture is a fracture through the tip of the odontoid, which is rare. Type 2 fracture at the base of your odontoid, which is the most common. And then type 3 fracture, base and body of axis. Okay, it has a best prognosis, no? I am assuming that you know already ano bang ibig sabihin ng prognosis, no? Yung prognosis is there a chance of healing your patient properly? Okay? Pagka sinabi nating bad prognosis, ibig sabihin, no, the disease, instead of making good, no, the situation of the patient will be not good or bad. Okay, so this is how are you going to classify your odontoid fracture. Okay, so any question about the cervical spine before we proceed to the thoracic? Yung mga remaining lecture is hindi na siya singrami, no? Hindi na siya singrami ng cervical. Okay, so walang nagsasalita, so it means you understood, no? Okay, thoracic region. Okay, so when you are looking at a thoracic vertebra, okay, ano ba yung inyong tinitingnan? You need to look for the passage. Ayan ang passage yung ipinopoint ko, class, no? So these are the passage on both sides whose function is for the articulation of your thoracic vertebra to the ribs. Okay? And then take note of the itaas natin. Okay, so take note of the appearance of the body of your thoracic vertebra. Okay, it must be heart shaped, and then the vertebral canal should be round. Can you see? No? Heart shape, yung vertebral body, and the vertebral foramen is circular or round. Okay? So that is your thoracic vertebra. Okay, so when you are looking at your thoracic vertebra, the first thing that you are going to take a look is this intervertebral foramen. Okay? So yan yung unang-una mong titingnan for you to say that this film is a thoracic film or thoracic segment film. And then of course, you need to take a look at the intervertebral disc. Okay? So these are the first among the different structures that you are going to assess if you are looking at a thoracic vertebra segment. Okay? So what is this? What is this? CT scan or MRI or radiographic film? Huh? So this is showing the right side of the patient. Okay. So again, what are your initial maximum view requests? Okay, if you are dealing with a thoracic spine. Again, you are going to begin with the lateral view, okay? And how is the normal appearance of your thoracic spine? It is slightly, mildly convex posteriorly, okay, giving you an appearance of a kyphotic vertebra, okay? So thoracic vertebra is kyphotic. Okay, then evaluate the apithoracic spine. Okay, and then also, okay, like the cervical, you need to evaluate the spinal alignment. Okay, so the spinal alignment should be straight. Okay, so this is how we're going to look at your thoracic spine and ribs. Okay, so T1 is lines upwards, and this is your first rib. Okay, so this will tell you the posterior ribs, okay, on right, anterior ribs on the left. So naka-numbered items class yung ating mga ribs. Okay? So this is thoracic spine in fetus on ultrasound. Alam naman natin class that a pregnant woman, specifically kung ang mag-request ay mga obstetrician, no, hindi sila nagre-request ng CT scan at saka MRI, no? Kapag obstetrician ka, okay, you only deal with the ultrasound. Kasi nga, bakit ultrasound? So, not to expose the fetus, okay, on high, okay, radiation. Okay? Kasi wala naman kasing radiation ang ultrasound, no? Wavelength lang siya like your MRI. Okay? So, ang mataas, ang radiation is your radiography and your CT scan. Okay? But the MRI and ultrasound, they depend on the wavelength. So ito yung ating uh, vertebra, no, thoracic spine, okay, in a fetus. Okay, so this is the normal. Okay, we are here trying to compare, no, the lateral view of the different situation or concern. So this is a normal thoracic vertebra. Okay? So ito namang kabila, meron siyang wedge compression. Can you see class? No? Kitang-kita naman yung wedge compression fracture. Yung wedge compression fracture class, no? Kaya mag-iingat kayo, no? Biglang naglalakad ka, naka-high heels ka, no? Naka-straddle injury, no? So kapag straddle injury ka, no, yung pet mo, yun yung una nag-land sa floor, no? So ano mangyayari? Magkakameron ka ng compression fracture. Okay, and then ito namang sa kabila, okay, is a case of a sickle cell anemia patient, no? Showing an H-shaped vertebral body. Okay, kitang-kita naman may H-shape yung vertebral body. Okay? So kapag may H-shape, it is a case of a sickle cell anemia. Okay, so you have here the CT scan of the thoracic vertebra. Okay, so please try to take a look at the different parts of your thoracic vertebra seen on a CT scan. Okay, so you can see the costovertebral junction, the body, the spinal canal, spinous process, transversus process. Okay, so this is your CT scan. Okay, so another CT scan done. Okay, to show you the different parts. Okay, so this is your vertebral canal. Okay, may spinal cord, spinous process. Okay, and of course the vertebral body and so forth. Okay, your intercostal muscle is easily seen. No, you can easily see your intercostal muscle. Okay, so let's now proceed to the lumbar. Okay, so what time is it? 11:10. So medyo matatapos tayo before 12. Okay, so alam niyo naman na siguro how to differentiate a lumbar vertebra from the rest, no? So if you're looking at the actual, no, dislocated lumbar vertebra, ano yung mga characteristic niya? It has a massive body, sturdy laminae, largest of the movable vertebra. Always remember, class, that the most stressful, no, among your lumbar vertebra is your L4, L5. Okay? Because why is it very stressful? No, because it carries the whole of your weight. No, so if you are heavy, no, let's say you are weighing 150 kilos. No, if you are 150 kilos, imagine your lumbar vertebra will carry your weight. No, I told you already and explained to you already before that the weight of your body is transmitted to your vertebra. And the last among the vertebra to receive that weight of yours is the lumbar vertebra. Okay, so the most what you call this, the most stressful is your L4 and L5. Okay, so please take a look at the different characteristics of your lumbar vertebra. Okay, so just to show you the normal anatomy, no? The vertebral body is kidney shape. You have a sturdy, okay, sturdy spinous process. Okay. So again, the first thing that you are going to request is the lateral and AP view. Okay. So same thing, no? Lateral and AP view. So this is just to show you the different structures and different parts of your lumbar vertebra. Okay. So please try to go over it and identify the different parts. Okay, so how are you going to characterize, no, the lumbar spine or the lumbar spine? So the lumbar spine is taller than broad, pedicle short and project from the upper half of the body. The laminae is thick and droop, okay, and drop below the pedicles. The spinous process are hatchet shape and projects horizontally, and the transverse process are long, thin, and they slant slightly backward and upward. Okay, so I'm assuming that when you see a disarticulated lumbar spine or lumbar vertebra, you could easily identify it. Okay, so the superior facets, okay, face medially, inferior facets face laterally, okay. The interarticular joints lie in early, okay, nearly sagittal plane. Region between the superior articular process and the remainder of lamina is often called, okay, the pars intercularis, okay. So that is your pars intercularis, the region between the superior articular process and the remainder of the lamina is your pars interarticularis. Okay, so this is your lumbar spine. Okay, lateral view. Okay, so from T12, okay, joint spinous process. Okay, so this is your superior articularing facet, inferior, pedicle, lamina spinous process, transverse process. Okay, so this is the lateral view. Okay, so as I told you a while ago, no, you can always add oblique view, no? So paano mo i-describe kapag oblique view class? Para kang may scotty dog, no? Kita mo, ito yung tail, no? And then ito yung this one, ay, gumalaw. So this side here is this side of the film. Okay, so this is the body. Okay. Okay, so meron siyang scotty dog appearance, yung shadow. Okay, so that is seen in the oblique view of your lumbar spine. Okay, magnetic resonance requested to evaluate the vertebrae, intervertebral disc, spaces, spinal cord. Okay, usually ends at level 1. This is in adult class, ha? Adult. Okay, so tingnan natin, nasan ang vertebra, nasan ang spinal cord, ayun, no? So that is your spinal cord that usually ends at the lumbar one. Okay, so your cauda equina is seen. Okay, nutrient artery is even seen, normal disc. Okay, nerve roots. Okay, etc. Okay, MRI. So that is your normal intervertebral disc, neural foramen, nerve root. Okay, this one is degenerative. Okay, degenerative. So most likely this patient is 60 years old and above. Usually yung ibang pasyente class, no, at early age, no, maybe 45, 40, 50, meron na agad silang degeneration. Okay, so CT scan of the lumbar spine, bakit nagkaganito? Presence of intervertebral, bakit ay, intervertebral disc. Tayo makat. Yung makat. So ano yan klasa? Intervertebral. Vertebral disc. Presence of intervertebral disc, the presence of the extent of the fractures. Bakit ganun? CT scan, imaging may be requested to determine the presence. Okay, so kailan ka mag-request ng CT scan? The CT scan could be requested to determine the presence of your problem with your intervertebral disc and any vertebral disc problem. Okay? The presence of, ito tatanggalin na to. The presence of. So you're going to evaluate the extent, no, of the fracture in your intervertebral disc, no? So kapag nagkameron ka ng no, kung kunyari nagko-contemplate ka, ay meron itong problema sa lumbar spine, no? So you are contemplating a lumbar spine disease plus the intervertebral disc problem. Okay, then you request for a CT scan of the lumbar spine. Okay, so ganyan ang itsura ng CT scan. Okay, alam niyo naman na yung CT scan to, no? Kasi meron siyang very prominent. So this is post-myelogram CT scan class. So very obvious yung neural foramen. Okay, you can see the CSF. Okay, so this is your intervertebral disc. Okay, so kung abnormal ang bone marrow class, no? Abnormal marrow. Ito ganyan ang itsura. Okay, abnormal cord position. Kita niyo yung abnormal cord, no? Yun, no? Okay. So, yun. Ang baba ng abnormal cord dito sa kabila. Okay, we know already in adult. Kapag adult, anong level? Level 1, lumbar 1. Kapag pediatric, lumbar 3. Fetus, all throughout of your vertebral canal. Okay? So this abnormality, no? Nasaan ang this abnormality class, no? So we said that you could request CT scan if there are some vertebral problem of the lumbar and intervertebral disc abnormality, no? Yan yung mga intervertebral disc class. Okay, abnormal cord spine, no? Ito ang taas, oh, nasa thoracic level yung spinal cord class. Oh, can you see? No? Yung the one I'm pointing. Ito ang doon sa taas. Okay. Myelogram. So in the past, no, they called, nung una kasi class, no, they called standard for the diagnosis if you are referring to the spinal cord plus around the neural canal, no? The gold standard to diagnose this kind of problem is the myelogram. Oh, bakit nawala ang myelogram class? Because the myelogram is very invasive, no? It is very painful and it is very hard to do. It is very it brings too much discomfort to the patient. Okay? Because you are going to inject contrast medium, okay, sa intrathecal space. Now, yung intrathecal space class is very hard to see. No, ang hirap niyang kasi it is a very small space na kapag sumobra yung tusok mo ng needle mo, no, lampas ka na. Okay? So lampas ka na. So it's very hard and usually the location is done, okay? It's either you do it in the lumbar spine or the cervical spine. Okay? And then hahanapin mo si intrathecal. Okay, yung intrathecal space class, no, is the space, no, kunyari, anesthesiologist ka. So, ang gusto ng pasyente, post-operatively, wala pa rin siyang pain. Okay? So, instead that you are going to inject a patient, let's say, Valium or any pain reliever to be given maybe every 4 hours, every 6 hours, no? So, ang gagawin mo ngayon, mag-i-insert ka ng catheter at the intrathecal space, no? Intrathecal space, tapos gagawin mo ng side drip, no? Side drip yung pain reliever. Okay? So that's why it is a very difficult procedure. So while the operation is ongoing, no? So andun lang si catheter, no? Yung small catheter para doon nagpupos. Kunyari matagal ang operation, it takes mga let's say 8 hours or 10 hours, no? So ang ginagawa ng anesthesiologist, doon sila nagpupush ng pain reliever or yung kanilang aesthetic drugs. Okay? So that while during the operation, walang pain ang pasyente. Okay, so example ng ating CT myelogram. Okay, kita nyo class. So ito yung terminal end ng ating spinal cord. Okay, so kita mo pa yung contrast medium. Okay, in the intrathecal space. Okay, so ito yung nasa gitna ang spinal cord. So yung nasa paligid is your contrast medium. Okay? I hope that you are with me looking at what I'm pointing. Okay, so yan ang CT myelogram. Kita pa rin yung contrast medium dito class. So yun yung ating spinal cord, yung kulay itim sa gitna. Okay, yung shadow, okay, around it is your contrast medium. Okay, so this is a CT myelogram. Okay, so same. Okay, so we're already in the sacrum. May question kayo sa lumbar? So we're about to finish. Okay, sacral region. Okay, so alam niyo naman that this is formed by the fusion of five, no? Of five vertebra. Okay? And then anatomically speaking, ilang butas ang mayroon? 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 foramina on each side. And then you can even see the sacral canal. And then this is your sacral promontory. Okay, ayun ang coccyx sa baba. Okay, so ayan ang coccyx class. Can you see the shadow of the coccyx? No? So kitang-kita yung pelvis, kitang-kita yung joints, okay? So this is the left side of the patient, okay? Sacral promontory, sacroiliac joint, and then AP view ito class, ha? AP view. Okay, sacrum in coccyx. So yan ang sacral promontory, sacroiliac joint, sacral foramen, cornu, coccyx. Okay. Ala. So this is oblique view. Okay. I think this is the last slide. So this is on the lateral side class. Yan ang coccyx, yun ang sacrum, sciatic nuts. Okay, so that is the last slide.